Hey, it's Jason. Welcome back to Hardy Brothers Outdoors and episode 4 of the John Deere Compact Tractor Buyer's Guide series. This episode we're going to talk about the mid-mount mower. We've only got the 2032R with us and the 1025R because the 4052R, it is not an option to add a mid-mount mower. They basically make it available up through the 3 series, and that's it. So as you can see, neither one of us has the mower installed, but Josh has brought his out so he can talk to it. But you know, it's January here, or February, so we don't need the mid-mount mowers on. The mower was actually one of the primary reasons that I bought my tractor. So mid-mount mower was a given for me. I bought it. I've got the 60D Auto Connect model that goes on it, and I really had nothing but good luck. I mowed a couple acres. I was using a 42-inch Craftsman before, and I upgraded to this, and you know, it makes the mowing go well, it rides well. I've really had, you know, nothing but good luck. So I'll throw it over to Josh, let him talk about his experience. And I think he did a poll and asked people, you know, how many people are using their tractors for mowing.
Yeah, so same poll as the one that we talked about in the front end loader, which took number 1. Number 2 was using it as a mower, and I think it was 32%, and we had about 164, and that'll change, you know, regularly. So if you want to vote on how you're using yours, let us know out there. I've got the 72D, and so you can get the 60 or the 72. A couple advantages of the 72 are the load and go ramps here, so that I can use the front end loader, which I just used to move this out here, and that has been a key feature for me. In terms of decision, when I bought, I was getting the mower. I already had I've got a small Massey Ferguson 2300 with a 60-inch mower deck. It's a great mower. It's not so great as a tractor. So I wanted a tractor first and a mower second. And I believed that the extra 12 inches of mowing was going to save me a significant amount of time on 5 acres. Not so sure about that. But it certainly is a good mower. A lot of the questions that I see is, should I get the 60 or the 72? Is it going to scalp my yard? We have nothing but hills here. So I don't care what size mower you're going to use, you're going to end up scalping. The other thing is, this is country land. It's not a manicured suburban yard. So I have seen folks, Joe Lopez is one of the guys that publishes a lot on Facebook. He uses a 72 inch on his yard on, I think it's a 2038R, and he says he's got no problems. So for me, I wasn't looking for, you know, a huge issue whether it's scalped or not. I have had some issues though, and probably one of the biggest issues I had was not knowing the proper setting for the wheels. The wheels are not supposed to run on the ground. They're supposed to only come in contact with the ground when you hit something uneven. And my front right side there is bent. I've had a couple damaged and bent spindles, which they're expensive. They're like $90 a piece.
Ooh, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, and they're more expensive on the 3 series because they accidentally shipped me those the first time, and I want to say they're like twice that. So all in all, you know, 72-inch deck, and I don't remember the exact. We're going to talk pricing later, so we'll come back to that.
We'll come back to pricing. But what you mentioned I hadn't thought of is the 1025R. You can get the 54-inch deck. Honestly, I didn't even consider it. I already had I was mowing with a 42-inch deck on the Craftsman, and it was at my cabin. So when I go to the cabin, I want to spend as little time as possible mowing. So I went with the 60-inch deck. It was a no-brainer. And in terms of scalping, you know, I probably had a little bit of issue, but same scenario as Josh. That first of all, it got mowed once every 3 or 4 weeks. It was just depended how often I got there. I was interested in getting it done as quickly as possible. It's an area that had been cleared of trees, so it's very uneven ground where stumps had been removed. So I was definitely scalping the ground here and there, but I guess the opposite end of the spectrum from a durability standpoint, it did really well. When I was mowing every 3 to 4 weeks and the weeds were high, The mower was handling it, the tractor was handling it well. So my experience was pretty good. So next up, what we'll do is we'll talk about some pricing and what it costs to add one of these mid mowers to your tractor. Okay, for the mid mount mower, like everything else, if you can bundle it into your package, that's where you're going to get your best deal. When I purchased my tractor, I got the front end loader, I got the mid mower, I got a tiller, a rear blade, and a landscaping trailer. So I bundled it all up and felt like I got a pretty good deal. The list price on the 60-inch mid-mount mower is about $3,100. And I did a video a week or so ago where I misquoted it. I gave a price for the deck only without the install. The $3,100 price I found on John Deere actually includes all the hardware and hydraulics, everything you need to have it installed. So it is a little more expensive than I thought, but I still, in my mind, if I'm negotiating this item, I'm wanting to come back to that 19% off of list. So I'm going in and, I'm looking at this whole bundle and I'm adding up all of the prices, and I want to come in around 19%. That's where I think that's the best deal I think you can get. Again, if you get 17, 16, you got to decide if you're happy with that, and you can walk away with that being happy, or if you want to keep negotiating. Not all dealers are going to be as flexible. Each dealer has unique situations. So $3,100 was the list price on this one. And Josh, what do you recall about yours? It's been a few years since we bought these.
Yeah, so I think it was $5,000, I believe, for the 72D. We'll put the exact amount down below. As I mentioned, it's in my 2032R review, 175-hour review in the description. But I want to say it's about $5,000. I paid extra for the Load and Go, which I just got last year. I've also got a video installing those and demonstrating those. They're not as necessarily straightforward as you'd think. So a little bit of struggle with that, but we like to show the struggle, because if we struggle, we know other people will potentially as well. Yeah, I think that was it. And I mentioned that if you don't get your spindles right, those are $90 a piece to replace them.
So the Load and Go, is that a John Deere product or is that a third-party product?
It's a John Deere product.
Okay, I did not realize that.
And I think I said it's not available on the 60-inch deck for the 2 Series, but it is for, I think, like the maybe the 2025 has a Load and Go option on the 60-inch, and I think one of the 3 Series does as well. But on the 2032R and the 2038R with the 60-inch deck, you cannot get the Load and Go as of today.
Okay, great. So that'll give you some ballpark pricing and some numbers to work with as you get ready to go talk to the dealer. Next up, we're going to give you some questions to ask the dealer about the mid-mount mower as you're making that purchase. So just like all the attachments, my number one recommendation is to get a demonstration of how to connect and disconnect the deck. They talk about drive on, drive off. It's a pretty slick system, but it's not 100%. You're going to run into bumps here and there on how to get it to connect. So make sure, once again, I want you to drive it on and show me. I want to take it off. That I don't want you to talk me through it and point to everything. Show me how this does it and then let me do it. You really want to make sure you understand this. In the event that it doesn't work properly, there's some adjustments that can be made. Ask them where those adjustments are and how you make those. So there's things that can be done to the deck, there's things that can be done to where the PTO connects in. So there's a couple adjustments. They're just good things to ask the dealer about. The other thing, there's, as part of the connection process, there's a dial on the 1025R. It sets the height of the mower as well as allows you to install it and deinstall it. It also has a feature when you don't have that mid-mount deck on, so that you can lock all the hydraulics up underneath the mower when you're not using them. So get a demonstration of all of those features around connecting and disconnecting the mower on the 1025R and how to lock those out of the way.
Yeah, on the 2032R, there's a couple things, and I don't recall if the command cut is standard or not. I believe it's an add-on. Command cut gives you 9 preset settings, so that every time you mow, you've got precision. If I mow on setting number 4, all I gotta do is dial it to setting number 4. And so it goes from 0 to 6 with some increments in between. and that's what you use to lower and connect the mid-mount PTO. The other one is RIO, which allows you to mow in reverse. Generally, with the mid-mount mower, when you go in reverse, the mower will stop. So you have to hold down on a switch to allow you to mow in reverse. And similarly, there is a way to hold the hydraulics up higher, which is pretty important for us because we use these things back through the woods and on the back side of the property quite a bit. But it's a manual approach where you have to lift it up, put a pin through it. So have those things demonstrated. I think even in the installation, if I looked at the instructions, I mentioned a tractor app before that it showed me pulling pins out. Well, there were no pins in mine when I originally got it. So just have them walk you through the installation. Have them explain to you how the casters and the spindles should be set. Because when I got mine, I don't know if it was set right the first time, but in order to drive it on and off, you have to change the setting every time. So you can set it completely flat. So I don't know if it was me that put them back in the wrong spot or someone else, but I thought they were supposed to roll on the ground at all time, and that wasn't the case. So I created my own issue, not knowing. And it wasn't until I talked to my sales rep that she mentioned, those really shouldn't come in contact. They should just be slightly below the lip of the mower to keep the mower from coming in contact with the ground.
Yep. Last thing is talk to them about maintenance. What needs to be maintained on this? Are there areas that need to be greased? How about the belt? How often does it need to be replaced? Are there adjustments you need to make on the belt? And the blades, how often do they need to be sharpened or replaced? So those are just maintenance topics that you can talk to your dealer about. They're probably in the manual, but again, take advantage of that expert while you got them.
They actually offer a service, they did on mine anyway, where they'll pick it up in the winter when they service your tractor, and they'll also service the deck. I didn't price it out, but that is an option.
Cool. All right, next up, we're going to talk safety.
All right, so let's jump into the safety discussion. A couple things that I want to mention. The first one is, should you mow in two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive? My experience and on my property, which is all hills, I mow exclusively in four-wheel drive. So if you have a flat property, two-wheel drive is fine. If you're mowing on hills at all, I recommend four-wheel drive. It will help slow you down as you're going down hills, give you the grip that you need. In my first 2 hours of using my tractor, I mowed on a very steep hill that I always mowed on with my Massey. And for some reason it wasn't in four-wheel drive. And I slipped down that hill. It was a very scary incident. I make sure every time I get on the tractor it's in four-wheel drive. And if you have hills, I recommend four-wheel drive. The second thing that I do is, I mentioned earlier on the front end loader video that I rarely take off the whole front end loader, but I generally take off the bucket so that I can see and I have more clearance when I'm mowing. Generally don't have the backhoe on it, but something you could ask your dealer is, what is the recommendations around mowing with attachments. We don't usually use any attachments on the rear, but like I said, the front end loader, I usually have it on without the bucket. So I think you've got some you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I've got a couple, and I'm going to take the safety police approach on a couple things. And these are things I do all the time, and I'm somewhat passionate about. Eye protection, hearing protection, and not having kids on the tractor when you're mowing. I've hunted all my life. I've got some hearing loss, and I view hearing as something I can't afford to lose any more of. So no matter what I'm doing, if I am in a noisy environment, chainsaw, running the mower, anything that has noise, I throw on a set of earmuffs. The eye protection, you just never know. And the kids topic, I've seen just too many times on Facebook when someone says, you shouldn't have your kids on there. People comment of, oh, we got the Facebook safety police. It's all fun and games until something happens to that kid, and it's something I can't imagine living with if one of my kids was injured because we were doing something that, you know, just really didn't make sense. If, you know, it's just hard for me to explain. It's just a chance I'm not willing to take, and I recommend that you not take it either. So.
Well, I'll add to that, because our sister is a nurse, and she said that's one of the most horrific cases that she sees. She works for a children's hospital, and that she's seen numerous incidents where kids have been injured on riding lawnmowers or tractors. And it's not just on the tractor, it's anywhere around the tractor. So if you're discharging something out of the side of the mower, it can come out, rocks, whatever else, and you don't want anybody, you know, running alongside the tractor, around the tractor, behind the tractor. I personally have mowed up against the house or along some trees and had rocks ricochet back in and hit me. So I try to always discharge away from those things, but it is not even an option for my kids. They have got to be far enough away, and if it's running, they're nowhere close to it.
All right, so that's our downer on the safety stuff, but I think it's important. Next up, we're going to give you the last thing here, which is our negotiation tips. So let's talk about how you go in and include the mid-mount mower in your negotiations. Okay, so a few things very specific to the mid-mount mower that you can throw into your negotiations. First of all, you know, I've said it every episode, focus on that 22 to 25% off as your first ask. And as you negotiate some things that you can ask them to throw in, consider asking them to throw in an extra set of blades. If they don't want to do that, you can ask them to sharpen your blades. If I remove them and come in, will you sharpen them for me for free? Ask them to do that a couple times. That'll just save you some hassle. Anything you can think of?
Yeah, I'd say it's worth asking if they'd throw in the load and go. I think this runs about $260, so it's not trivial in sense of picking it up later. And is that Nick?
I'm not sure. The neighbor driving by.
Car, everybody. So the thing that I would say is maybe see if you can get the load and go thrown in. It's about $260 new. So maybe they'd be willing to do that. And what else did I was looking at?
You had load and go and bundle this into your package, right?
Yeah, bundle it into the package. Like we said, if you're, negotiate it, get that rate Jason mentioned, get it all at your 0%. If you're going to need the mower, get it at the time that you're buying the tractor. And 30-some% of you say that's what you're buying it for anyway, so make sure you get it. So that's it for this session, this episode. The next one is going to be rotary cutters, or bush hogs, as some of you may know them as. And thank you so much for watching. Click that like and subscribe. Hit that little bell notification so that you know when our next video comes out. And get yourself outdoors, because outdoors is always in season. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot.